Hello and welcome to part 5 of the 5-part series for how to knit a bunny hat with ear flaps. So for this video, the last one, we've pretty much done our full hat. The last part that we need to do here is add the icord and tassel onto it. So when I do my icord, I make the icord and the tassel all consistently together, so all one strand of yarn. I don't make the tassel and then attach it on separate, which you could totally do if you wanted to. But for this video, I'm going to be showing you how to do that technique. Okay, so let's get started. Grab the bunny hat that you've made so far. You'll need that. And if you don't have that made, then go ahead and watch parts 1 to 4 for how to do that. And then also for this video, you're going to need your 5.5 millimeter double pointed needles, a yarn needle, and some scissors. And of course, your dreamy Red Heart Dreamy yarn in the ivory color is what we've been using for this one. Okay, so to add these on, you're going to find about the middle stitch of your ear flap. So if you look at your ear flap, what stitch is kind of right in the middle there? Can you see that, guys? Okay. So you're going to take your double pointed needle and just insert it into that stitch. Then you'll take and leave a little bit of a tail here with your yarn. Fold your yarn in half and just with your needle pull it through the stitch. Okay. Now you're going to drop that tail, grab your working yarn, yarn over, go into that exact same stitch that you just were in to pull the loop through and pull up another loop onto your needle. Okay, so for this I-cord, I only do a 3-stitch I-cord just because it's a 0 to 3 month hat, so we want a tiny little cord. We don't want it too thick. So I just did a 3-stitch. So now you can see here that my yarn is connected to this back needle. So in order to make the I-cord, which is just kind of like a tubing of, you can see here when you turn it around, it's like a tubing of knitting. So to get that effect, all you do is, instead of turning your work and knitting like you normally would, you take these stitches and you slide it down to the other end. Now you grab your other needle, and this yarn here is going to be at that back last stitch, totally what you want, okay? So then you would just knit those 3 stitches off. Like so. Okay, so that is row 1. Again, your yarn is connected to that last needle there, or that last stitch. You're going to take and just slide. Okay, and then knit. Okay, so there's row 2. So you want to just keep doing this slide, knit, slide, knit. So here is row 3. Okay, and I just kind of like to keep kind of pulling up on my stitches there, just so that I can see where my tubing's happening. So slide, and knit. So this is row 4. And for this 0 to 3 month hat, for the length of that one, I like to knit 20 rows. So meet me back when you've knit 20 rows of the I-cord, and I'll show you how to do the tassel on the end. So there are my 20 rows of the I-cord. So now what I want to do is I'm going to slide again. And then I'm going to take and I'm going to cut. I'm going to just dole out here enough yarn that I think would make a tassel. So I don't really want a really thick tassel for a little tiny baby hat, so that'll be sufficient right there, I'm sure. Okay, and then I'm going to take that thread that I just cut and I'm going to thread it onto my yarn needle. And just like I would knit the next row here, I'm going to take my yarn needle and I'm going to just knit these stitches off, but I'm going to pull it off onto the needle. So one, pull it off like I'm knitting, and then that way your stitches will just lay nicely. And then you want to pull that yarn all the way through. Okay, there we go. So you can see those 3 stitches there that we just knit off. Okay, so now I'm going to go back through those 3 stitches, but I'm just going to take and kind of hold it with my ring and middle finger. I'm going to leave the pointer and middle finger up in the air, and as I pull that through, there we go, it'll catch onto my fingers, as you can see. I'm going to wrap it around and go back up through those 3 stitches. Okay, pull it through. So now I've wrapped 2 times. Go back through those 3 stitches, pull it through. Wrapped 4 times. Go back through those 3 stitches. Wrapped 5 times, and I like to count just so that both tassels will be the same, so I know what I did for one. So whatever you do for one, just do for the other. There's 6. And normally for the baby hat, I do about 7 times around. There's 7. And I'm just gonna thread that through again. Okay, so whatever size tassel you want, if you want to keep going, go ahead. At this point, I'm just going to stop. I'm going to take this yarn here. I'm going to wrap it over, then I'm going to come back through those 3 stitches. So I'll show you again what I did here. So normally it would be going this way. I wrapped it around like that. Then I'm going to go back up through those 3 stitches. Just making sure that my yarn doesn't get, my tassel doesn't get all clumped up there. Okay, so now my yarn's going the other way. So I am going to just drop my needle here, and I'm going to continue to wrap, 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 just like the top of a tassel would. I'm going to kind of hide those 3 stitches that I've been working into. Okay, I'm going to go bottom, and I'm going to go back up and stop when I get back to the top. Okay, then when I get back to the top, I'm just going to take and thread that needle down through all of my wrapping that I just did there and pull. Okay. And then sometimes down here, if you can discreetly, just kind of grab onto maybe a couple little pieces of yarn and just give it a little knot there. And then that way your yarn won't work its way back up the knots. Okay. So now you're just going to snip your yarn, snip your loops. There we go. You can see that a little bit better. Now I just take and I just, like you were going to go get your hair cut, I just kind of hold it there at the top of my fingers. And I just go along and I give it a nice little trim. All right. So now you want to just, that other starting yarn here, right here that we had from the tail, you want to weave that in to the inside of your hat here so it looks discreet. And then do that exact same thing, but on the other side of your hat. And voila, you have created the little baby bunny hat with ear flaps. Adorable. Thanks.